S. Lee Merritt, Esquire, commonly known as the People's Lawyer, is emerging as an influential new voice in the fight for social justice. A civil rights activist and attorney, Merritt runs a high-profile practice focusing on victims of police brutality, hate crimes, and corporate discrimination. As an activist, he has championed police reform and community empowerment. A cum laude graduate of Morehouse College, he has been recognized as one of the top 10 most influential African Americans in the country, ages 18 to 45, by The Root. The National Black Caucuses of State Legislators awarded Merritt the prestigious Nation Builder Award, adding him to an elite list of recipients, including President Barack Obama, Shirley Chisholm, and Vernon Jordan. But today, S. Lee Merritt, Esquire, recognizes you as the elite one, because you deserve.
Somebody said it couldn't be done, but he with a chuckle replied that maybe it couldn't, but he would be one that wouldn't say so till he tried. So he buckled right in with a bit of a grin on his face if he worried he hit it. And he started to sing as he tackled the thing that could not be done. And he did it. Somebody scoffed, "Oh, you'll never do that. At least no one has ever done it." So he took off his coat and he took off his hat, and the first thing you know, he'd begun it. With a tilt of his chin and a bit of a grin without any doubting or quitting, he started to sing as he tackled the thing that could not be done. And he did it. There are thousands to tell you it cannot be done. There are thousands to prophesy failure. There are thousands to tell you one by one the dangers that wait to assail you. But just buckle right in with a bit of a grin. Just take off your hat and go to it. Just start to sing as you tackle the thing that cannot be done, and you'll do it. Couldn't Be Done by Edgar A. Guest. Thank you all so much for having me, allowing me the honor of speaking at your graduation. I'm going to tell some stories today because where we are as a country reminds me of when I was an 8-year-old boy. I recall seeing the beating of Rodney King by a group of Los Angeles police officers flash across my TV screen as a kid between episodes of Soul Train and He-Man. They used to play back to back. It was March 3rd, 1991. I was 8. And I was living on Merritt Boulevard in South Central Los Angeles. Now, just about 2 weeks later, on March 16th, I was trying to watch Beverly Hills Cop when I was interrupted by another news flash. A 15-year-old girl had been shot in the back of the head at Empire Liquor Store, about 5 miles from where I lived, off Figueroa. They hadn't arrested the shooter, the store owner. I wasn't sure what was happening in the world. At 8 years old, I remember that Simpsons was interrupted by Michael Jackson breaking a car with a bat and talking about being both black and white. When you went outside, the city was burning. This was the LA riots. It claimed the lives of 63 people and set my home city back in ways that it has never fully recovered. Men like Nipsey Hussle had only recently just begun to buy back the block and reinvest in the youth in the community before he was killed. But the marathon continues. So here we find ourselves, protests and riots in every major American city, an uprising in all 50 states, international protests with a single message at its core: Black Lives Matter. That message is so important to me because my entire childhood, I've been told that Black lives don't matter. The racists who often say, "What about black on black crime? Why aren't you all just as upset when black people kill other black people?" Well, the answer is, it's because they go to jail. When black people are caught killing black people, they serve time. They receive multiple life sentences. Sometimes they're put to death, even when they haven't killed anyone at all. The criminal justice system loomed large in my community, devouring homes, schools, and families. And when a white person came to my community or ventured into South Central LA and they suffered harm, it was even worse. Everyone knew the block was hot. Someone died. Never mind the endless stream of home memorials dedicated to stray bullet tragedies. Someone who mattered died. The cops would double their presence in our communities. And what that told us as a kids is that our lives didn't matter. Theirs did. That was the message that was sent to us by not only law enforcement, but by the criminal justice system as well. I made up my mind then. I was 10 years old. I wanted to use my law I wanted to use law to prove that Black lives matter. Here was the problem. I didn't know any lawyers. My father was incarcerated, a member of Rolling 60s Crips. My mother hadn't graduated high school, so I turned the TV back on. This year, I found Denzel Washington premiering in a movie playing a civil rights lawyer called Philadelphia. I was hooked. That was it. I wanted to be Denzel. I wanted to go to Philadelphia and practice law and fight for civil rights and prove Black Lives Matter. I was 10, but I had a plan. I'm here to tell you today that you can do anything you set your mind to. When I was a kid, my mom introduced me to the church and I learned about faith in seasons. I remember mom would tell me almost every day, son, I can't tell you that it'll all be good, but all things work together for good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose. I took my lumps. I got into my fair share of trouble, but ultimately I was given space to make up my mind to walk into my purpose. I believe Alex Baldwin said it like this: you were born where you were born and face the future that you face because you're Black and for no other reason. But that's a good thing. While they may have meant it for evil, this is a unique strength, this Blackness thing. It's a unique strength of being able to overcome systemic oppression that constantly attempts to destroy us. The limits of your ambition were expected to be set forever. You were not expected to aspire to excellence. You were expected to make peace with mediocrity. California class of 2020, you did it. I'm so proud of each one of you. I don't only mean that you're walking and marching across the stage or the virtual stage today, but you all have marched in actual battle, and you've helped my dream come true. You've marched physically for justice, and I want to thank you for helping me realize my dream. Now it's your turn. You inherit a nation masquerading as the land of the free and the home of the brave. But what has recently been exposed by your efforts as the deadliest nation in the modern world for police violence, where accountability is at an all-time low for officers who can muster these 5 words: I feared for my life. A nation where 1 of 3 Black men is destined for chains and cages. The most incarcerated nation in the history of the world. I believe your class will be the class to lead us to freedom. I can't wait to see what you do. I leave you with a poem that I wrote for a classroom that I was teaching in middle school in Camden, New Jersey. I find it ironic that Camden, New Jersey has become the center of the conversation about defunding police. And if you follow closely, Camden, New Jersey defunded their police and built up a new community policing system. This is what I told those students. Many of them went on to become law enforcement in their own community, and they serve as a model to the nation. When I taught there, it was the poorest city in America and the most dangerous city in America. This is what I had to say to them, and this is what I have to say to you. You stand at a crossroad. Where you go from here is your choice, whether it's on or off road. You can go from here today determined to make goals and reach them, or you can go from here with a mindset to make babies and leave them. You can leave here with the attitude that the world owes you a break, or you can decide that you owe your family too much to become anything less than great. You can focus on what you don't have and the pain that others can't relate to, or decide to make the most out of the gifts that God gave you. You can spend next year preparing for grad school and a career, or take the first steps of a path leading towards prison, facing years. Your life can be filled with options, like whether you want to drive your Lexus or your Act, or you can be at the drive-thru asking your customers, would you like fries with that? You can get used to the sound of someone shouting, put your hands together and interlock your fingers like laces, or ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together, introducing the world's greatest. What you decide will be the difference between a corporate job and scrubbing pots. One day we might see you on TV, but will the show be Cribs or Cops? What you decide will be the difference between living in the hills or the slums. Your choices will either lead to having a life or having fun. Hourly or salary, dreams or reality, sufficient or poor. This may sound overly simple, but the decision is yours. The vision is yours. The life that you've been given is yours. You're a product of your decisions and what you're willing to work for. So leave here today knowing that nothing can stop you but yourselves and the choices that you make. God bless. Choose well.